Hey now, Deadheads. I want to share with you an interesting record today, or at least a record I find pretty interesting. It's something that's not new. It's not even officially released. It's actually a bootleg record, and so I'm really excited to share this with you today. But first, a little bit of story time. A while back, maybe a few months ago, someone said, "Hey, check out this book, Bootleg, by Clinton Halen." It has a pretty good history about bootleg records. I'd shared a few bootleg records a few times on this channel. There was the Terrapin Station demos, the bootleg Cornell 77 before they started pressing those again. Shared that on this channel. Seemed pretty interesting to me. A few of you were interested as well. And that led to someone saying, "Hey, check out this book." And so I checked it out. Learned a lot about the history of bootleg records, from the Stones' Liver Than You'll Ever Be. We had Bob Dylan, The Great White Wonder, all of these, the history of bootleg records. It's so rich, so interesting, and a really great background story. And that really got me thinking about, which bootleg records am I interested in? Is it not necessarily the Parachute Recording Company bootlegs that are fairly ubiquitous these days at record stores, but some of the older stuff, anything with the good old Smokin' Pig label from Trademark of Quality, I thought was really interesting. And so every time I go to a different record store, whether it's here in New York, whether I'm traveling, I flip through the Grateful Dead records, and especially the used stuff, to see what kind of interesting bootleg records might I be able to find. And on a recent trip, I was in London about a month ago. I found this record. Pretty novel to me. I don't know if many of you have seen this many times at your local record store, but this is Grateful Dead, the Bill Graham Benefit Concert, November 3rd, 1991. And you'll see there's not a lot of, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95 Grateful Dead being released. And so that really caught my eye. I think it's underrepresented. I know a lot of people don't like the Vince Welnick era of Grateful Dead, but if you send me a good show from the 90s, I'm going to check it out. I'm curious in those underrepresented years. And so I was already a little bit familiar with the Bill Graham Benefit Concert. I'm actually going to link down in the description below. You can watch a pretty good recording of it here on YouTube. A guy named Chris Hazard does a really good job. I think I gave him a shout out once before. And he tends to pull in the best quality video recordings as well, and so he'll sync up the highest quality video, the highest quality audio, and puts together a pretty good edit. Now the sound in that edit, I believe that is cassette master from the soundboard. The sound in this actually sounds like a radio broadcast. I don't know if it says it. Yeah, live. It says recorded live at Golden Gate Park on the front and back, but this is a radio broadcast. You can hear KFOG getting the radio ID on the second side, on side B. I'll zoom in on that. On side B, you've got that Wang Dang Doodle before they bring in John Fogerty, and it actually doesn't call out on this. You've got quite a few guests on here. You've got Joan Baez, you got Graham Nash, you get Chris Christopherson. There are other guests as well that are not even called out or acknowledged on this rear cover. But it's an interesting cast of characters for this Bill Graham Memorial Concert from Golden Gate Park. You'll also notice on this on the label sticker this really cool eyeball illustration. I don't know what the background is, the provenance of this illustration is, and so if you know anything about this eyeball illustration, let me know. I'm curious to learn a little bit more about this. And not only is the cast of characters, or the people playing on this, quite interesting, quite unique for Live Dead, but so is the song selection. I know you've got the John Fogerty stuff on side B with Born on the Bayou, Green River, Bad Moon Rising, and Proud Mary. You've got that Bob Dylan cover on the second record on side D with Forever Young. You've got, I believe that's Joan Baez singing Amazing Grace. She gives a little speech and sings Amazing Grace to close off this record. So really interesting stuff. I believe the Amazing Grace is left out of the Chris Hazard edit on YouTube. And so you're missing out on that. You'll have to track it down on re-listen. but it's worth tracking down. It's actually it's just a really interesting moment in time for the Grateful Dead, but for all of these artists, for music, for San Francisco. Anyone who ever played a Bill Graham promoted concert. I guess I should mention Bill Graham is that famous concert promoter, Fillmore East, Fillmore West. And so it makes sense that not just all of these wonderful musicians, but it seems like all of San Francisco is paying homage to Bill Graham. And one thing you'll notice in the background of this recording, this Chris Hazard video, right behind Mickey Hart, you can see Bear standing in his cowboy hat, nodding his head along. He's not much of a dancer in that video recording, but you get some glimpses of Bear from the early 90s, which is, I think, quite interesting. So the concert is great, but you might be thinking, what about this release? How good is this release? Who put it out? Why is it interesting? You see right here, it's put out by an imprint called Vinyl Virus. Now, I'm not too familiar with them. I'm a little bit more familiar with Trademark of Quality, but I'm not even an expert there. There's a lot of different, I'm guessing, European originated vinyl bootlegs. This one sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound like absolute crap, like a microphone in the nosebleed section of a giant stadium. It sounds like it's recorded from that radio broadcast. It's got this warmth that even the Charlie Miller soundboards and the Chris Hazard edit that doesn't have. It's just that FM warmth that when you crank the stereo, when you turn it up real loud, you're just transported to, I know it's from November 3rd, but you're just transported to just a hot day of listening to the Grateful Dead. And it's, the sun is shining, that warmth surrounds you. And it's I think, really incredible. It's really great. So you're not getting that pristine quality. You're not getting anything that's plangent processed by any means here. I believe it's probably an all analog chain. You're getting that snapshot of life. Filmmakers might call that cinema verite, or that truth in that recording. It feels so authentic and real. It's not pristine. It's not audiophile grade. It's realer than that. It's more tangible, warmer than that. And that's that's really why I love some of these bootleg records. They're not perfect, and they're clearly not perfect. They don't strive to be perfect. They are what they are. And so if you don't like it, that's fine. You can give it a shot on re-listen. Just if you decide it's not for you, then it's not for you. But I've decided that I've got all these wonderful, pristine Dead recordings. I've got a couple MoFis in my collection. That's as snobby as that sounds. But some of these bootlegs, just the warmth, the rawness, the realness. Maybe I'm getting a little bit pretentious in that, but I'm falling in love with these bootlegs, and so that's the reason why I decided I want to share this with people who follow this channel. I probably will be sharing a few more bootlegs inspired by reading the history of bootlegs, bootleg records. I've just been really excited about the uniqueness of these bootleg records. This is stuff that you can't buy right now on Discogs. They won't let you buy or sell bootleg records. Sometimes you see them pop up on eBay, but really the best source of buying a wonderful bootleg is to support your local record store. And how great is that? We love that virtue of supporting the local record store. And you can buy the brand new 50th anniversary releases. They sound great, but you can also go in and you can find those hidden gems that Amazon's not selling to you. Discogs isn't selling to the highest bidder. And I think that's really nice. I think it's unique. It's something that's different in this day and age. So let me know down below if you want to see more bootleg records like this. I've got a couple in my small but growing collection, and not just Grateful Dead bootlegs, but other bootlegs as well. Let me know if you have any interest in these, if this is something that I should keep up and maybe do a series around this. But otherwise, we've got a lot of brand new, pristine, plangent, processed Grateful Dead records coming up in April. And so if you're interested in those, maybe check out some of my other videos. I've done a couple roundups of what's coming out soon. Just check those out. Maybe consider subscribing if you want to see more new and old Grateful Dead records coming across your YouTube homepage. And that's it for today. So thank you guys very much for joining me and for checking out this video. I hope you have a great one. Peace.